Arkansas still has enough of the quaint, quirky weirdness that I really love that you hear about in some of these songs. So like the folk and bluegrass and all of that music that I really love to listen to and some of it try to play, I think really comes through. And I wanted to show that in a print with the Fish Lady of Toadsuck Holler, which Toadsuck is a festival they have in Conway up the road. And I always thought that was a cool name, weird name. Again, that quirkiness of the Ozarks. And that just came at the last minute. Really, I wanted to do something mythological to kind of add the weirdness. I thought I was losing some of the weirdness of the series. It was getting just a little bit too like beardy Ozark man walking around outside. Have one where he's got a glider, which I like. I love that one, but it just seems so straightforward. Wanted to add some of the weirdness to it. And so I thought, well, what if this guy ran across a mermaid, but yeah, it's in the Ozarks, and how would he get her back to the house? How would he take care of her? And first I thought, you see it here around in the Ozarks, there'll be a bathtub out in the field or something, and I thought, oh, that'd be neat and kind of sexy. I'll have her out in the bathtub, and he'll be doing something out in the yard or doing something. I didn't really know. So I drew it on the wood without really thinking about it. I think my sketch is in here. I had it a little bit ago. And I had it marked and I should have left it. Oh, here it is. But I had it a sketch, so I started with that. Mm-hmm. And didn't really know what I was going to do, and I use my wife for advice a lot. That's what I tell students too. I'm very lucky. I married an artist. I have a lot of good input that I get from my wife. I have to credit her with everything I've ever done in art. She looks at all of it. I respect her work. She's got a great eye. She knows me. She knows what I like. And she's like, why the hell is there a bathtub out there? That just doesn't make any sense. And I said, well, you see it. There's out there. She's like, I don't know. So then I thought, well, maybe a horse trough. I'll put her like in a horse trough, or the cow. Is that a horse trough? I forget. Is that what that's called? The big tin tub, like a pill shape. Like I'll do something like that. That'll be good. And she'll be in there, and maybe he's filling it because like maybe she, something's going on. I don't know. And just to add more interest to it, I'm like, it's kind of swampy. What would be in swamps? Previous piece I had done an alligator, where the guy's kind of pulling an alligator out of the swamp. I thought, well, there's a lot of frogs in swamps, so I'll just like overload it with frogs. Like, put so many damn frogs in. I want to be sick of carving frogs at the end. And I still think I could have put more in. But I thought, I'm just going to put so many frogs in there. How are you not going to see all the... You're not even going to see all the frogs at first, you know? So I just started drawing frogs all over it. And it just... Plus, you can imagine the noise it's making and the feel that's there. And she's kind of looking... And I want her to be looking at the frog, because that plays into it too. Like, kissing the toad and the prince. And I just wanted more layers to it. And then I thought he could be pouring water on her, or moonshine. Some people view it as he's pouring the moonshine on her, because I added some of the moonshine jugs, the old whiskey moonshine jugs in there, because that's another symbol that I like to use along with the hats, the beardy guy, and just added some of that as symbols and decoration and detail, layers. Get it on the board and make sure it looks right. And so a lot of erasing. I mean, I could fill this garbage can with erasers, shavings of erasing on the wood, because I make it right, and then I look at it. Yeah. And I might just sit and look. Some days I might come down and just look at it for like an hour. That sounds crazy, but I'm listening to music or drinking beer or something, and you just look at it and you think, what if I change this? What if I move that? And if I can't think of anything to change, it's done. It's ready to go. Then I start carving it, and that's a whole... Again, I kind of shut my mind off. In fact, I'll carve so long some days that I've gotten to the point to where I'll kind of wait until I know, okay, I'm going to have to go pick up the kids at 3. I probably shouldn't start carving till after lunch, because I'll come down at 7 and carve right till 3. And then I'll stand up and I'll be like, oh, God, I can't, I can't even... Because I don't even realize it half the time. You don't even know it. You're in that magical zone, which is awesome when that happens. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it happens, it's like a runner's high. Yeah. After I carve it, I usually either here, I have a press. I have a press here that I can print on, but it's not as big as the ones at school. And so I'll go to my job, where I'm very fortunate. I mean, being a printmaker helps to have a press. You're basically making a big stamp, so instead of like taking up the stamp and patting it in the felt pad with the ink, you're actually applying ink to the surface of the wood by rolling across it like a rolling pin, but it's made out of a different material, like a rubber material or leather material, and you roll that across an even coat across the wood, and then you lay that on the press, lay your paper down on it, plastic timping, because you just want to print the high parts. You don't want to print any of the low valleys. You want to print the peaks. And pass that through the press, and the pressure pushes it down evenly across the paper, and you peel that up. You got yourself a print, and that's one. And then you look at, and that's called a proof, because the very first one is not going to turn out right. It's going to be too dark or too light, and that's how you learn how to make the rest of your edition. And so you need to pick up your wood block, go back to your inking table, roll more ink on it, or less if it was too dark, or clean it off with a rag and kind of blot it off, and then you can roll back up, put it on the press, and you repeat that process until you get one you're happy with, and then you start your edition, and you just start. They should all match. They should be as identical as possible. I hang them up to dry in the print shop, or even down here. I mean, I find places. Sometimes they're laid out on tables, they're laid out on the ground, and people are told, don't walk on the prints, because we have a big family. We've got a lot of people here. And with this new series, this Bootlegger's Ballad series, I will add ink washes to them after they're dry. So I will tape them up to a board, and using ice cube tray and India ink and a bamboo brush, I'll dilute the India ink into different variations of tones, gray tones, and start applying the washes from lightest to darkest like a watercolor, trying to capture that mood or heighten some areas, darken some areas. In a way, it makes me even more free when I'm carving, because I think, well, I can just fix that in the mix. So I can fix, and sometimes that's where the happy accident comes in, because I'll think, well, I way over carved out all of this. This is really not good, and then I'll print it, but then it allows me all this area to do washes in, because I still love to paint. Even though I was a bad painter, I loved painting. I loved it, but I wasn't real good at it, and I think I've kind of gotten a better touch with these value washes on top of the prints, which was my wife's idea. I'm sure she'd want to put that in there. But I bring in these finished drawings I was doing as a high school student, which suck, but they're done. And that's a big thing. I've met so many artists being a teacher and trying to be an artist. It took me a long time to even admit that I'm an artist, because that was always like, oh, he's an artist. Like, meant loser. I think kind of growing up, like, he's an artist, or meant a myriad of other things, variety of things. But I'll admit now, I mean, I think I'm an artist now. I feel like an artist, but there are people so much better than me, but they just can't get their shit together.